Bayley just made some interesting comments, so we'll see what she had to say. We'll also check out a scary situation for Mia Yim, the New Day, and much more. Let's start things off with everything related to Bayley. Bayley is still leading Damage CTRL on SmackDown, and things have been going well for this group since Iyo Sky is the WWE Women's Champion after all. There's still hiccups that we see pop up amongst Damage CTRL from time to time, but for the most part, everything has been pretty smooth. The group's main focus is of course on Bianca Belair, who has just returned and has all the motivation and reasoning to come after Iyo Sky and the WWE Women's title. But the real big threat to Iyo's title reign could still be Bayley. It seemed like WWE even hinted at this idea back at Fastlane, but everyone really forgot about it and it went over everyone's head, because things didn't go terribly wrong. But back at Fastlane, Damage CTRL had a bit of a dispute for when it came to strategy for Iyo's title defense. Bayley wanted to be out there at ringside to help Iyo Sky, but it was Iyo who was extremely against the idea and wanted Bayley to stay in the back. And what ended up happening was Bayley ignored Iyo's wishes and still came out to ringside at Fastlane. And surprisingly enough, things didn't go wrong, and Bayley's help ended up being extremely useful and played a big role in Iyo's successful title defense. So we didn't really get to see Iyo confront Bayley for ignoring what she asked because everything went well. So Iyo had nothing to be upset about. But that Fastlane moment may be important because it can affect an event like Crown Jewel. Maybe Iyo once again wants to go into her match with Bianca Belair on her own, but maybe Bayley remembers what happened last time she didn't listen to Iyo, like at Fastlane, where everything went right, and that makes Bayley once again ignore what Iyo asked for and still goes out there to ringside. But the twist this time around would be that everything goes wrong, and Iyo Sky ends up losing the title due to Bayley's help that she specifically didn't ask for. And that could be the one big moment that truly blows up Damage CTRL. Bayley didn't literally turn on Iyo to cost her the title, but in this scenario, it would still be Bayley's fault, especially since Iyo has said on multiple occasions that she doesn't want Bayley at ringside for her matches. So maybe that breaks Damage CTRL up, while Bianca Belair continues the reign that she would have had back at SummerSlam if it wasn't for Iyo's cash-in. Dakota Kai still won't be cleared for any physical contact until early 2024. So if they do break up Damage CTRL in the near future, it'll mostly be just Bayley versus Iyo, with Dakota probably trying to serve as the peacemaker. So we'll have to see if they decide to go down that route for Damage CTRL. But in other Bayley-related news, she recently sat down for an interview with USA Network, and they asked her what would be a dream matchup if there was ever another Evolution event. Bayley had this to say in response to that question, quote, "Myself, JC Jane, and Cora Jade from NXT versus Roxanne Perez from NXT and Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell," end quote. And a lot of people found Bayley's answer to be interesting, because if Bayley is ever gonna add an additional Damage CTRL member, or if she forms another faction in the future, that may be her faction members right there, Cora Jade and JC Jane. That would be another very interesting looking faction there if Bayley did ever form that group as well. Mia Yim took to Twitter this week to share a scary situation that recently took place. She revealed that a sketchy food delivery driver tried to get into her home. Mia said that she was able to stop them and prevent it from happening. She also credited Shayna Baszler for convincing her to have certain items of defense in every room of her house as well. And thankfully, that's what Mia had ready to go. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou took place recently, and it was a massive boxing showdown in Saudi Arabia that all the biggest stars came out to see in person. Some of these big names include Kanye West, Mike Tyson, Eminem, as well as WWE's The Undertaker and Vince McMahon. A video of Vince McMahon walking into the arena using a cane and talking to The Undertaker went viral before the event even started. But what also went viral was a photo of the star-studded front row of guests at ringside. It was Vince McMahon, Mike Tyson, and Eminem, all sitting next to each other to watch the event. Eminem reposted the picture to his Instagram page with the caption of "just watching the fight with some friends." Of course, a lot of people would be interested in seeing a collaboration between Eminem and WWE take place in the future. It actually wasn't that long ago where it was being rumored that Eminem was set to make a WWE television appearance and even perform on the WWE stage. That was reported back in 2019, right around the time SmackDown was premiering on Fox. But that report never ended up being true. But there's always the future to see if a collaboration could go down between both sides. The New Day has cemented their legacy in WWE as being one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Endless amount of tag team titles were won amongst the three of them. Kofi Kingston won the WWE title. Big E won the WWE title. Xavier Woods won the King of the Ring. They had all this team success and even individual success while still technically being in a group. The New Day formed in 2014 and never broke up with each other, so they're still going on 10 years of being together in 2024. Big E recently spoke with All Stars Sports show, and he opened up about the bond he had with Kofi and Xavier, and how even WWE superstars never thought that their group or its individuals would succeed together. Big E had this to say about what went down there, quote, "We had Big Show was pulling Kofi aside. What are you doing with these two? You're wasting your career." He came back later and apologized because sometimes people don't see the vision. They don't see what you see. They don't understand that, end quote. And Big Show did end up being extremely wrong. He thought Kofi would have to extremely distance himself from the New Day in order to reach his height in WWE and maximize his career. And 2019 showed us that the Big Show wasn't right at all. Kofi became WWE champion while still being member of the New Day at the time, and they all celebrated with each other in the ring. And they also celebrated again when Big E won the WWE title. So it was amazing how everything turned out for the New Day. As far as updates for Big E goes, his day-to-day life is back to normal. He feels good and feels strong. But the big question that's still hovering over him right now that he doesn't have an answer for is his in-ring status. Big E has said several times during recent interviews that the decision there is still being decided, but that he'll honestly be happy with whatever happens. If his career is allowed to continue, then he's happy. But if he never wrestles again, he said he'll be happy and fulfilled with everything he's done during his career. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.